In a village rich with tradition, Bisola opens her heart and home to her struggling friend Anita, unaware of the dark ambitions simmering beneath Anita's warm smile. As tensions rise, Tobi, Bisola's husband, finds himself ensnared in a web of betrayal, drawn into a clandestine relationship with the very woman Bisola sought to help. When secrets threaten to unravel their family, the stakes escalate, culminating in a shocking confrontation that reveals Anita's sinister plan to eliminate Bisola once and for all. As ambition turns to desperation, the lines between love and greed blur, leading to a night of reckoning that will change their lives forever. In a gripping twist of fate, Anita's treachery backfires, forcing everyone to confront the true cost of betrayal. Will love endure through the ashes of deceit, or will the shadows of their past consume them all? Join us on this emotional journey of trust, revenge, and the enduring power of forgiveness in Shadows of Betrayal. Once upon a time, in a vibrant village nestled between rolling hills, lived a compassionate woman named Bisola and her loving husband, Tobi. Their son, Hakim, was the light of their lives. One afternoon, while weaving baskets under the shade of a giant mango tree, Bisola received a heart-wrenching letter from her best friend Anita, revealing the harrowing struggles she faced in a nearby village plagued by hunger and despair. As she read Anita's words, the knot tightened in Bisola's stomach, igniting a fierce determination to help. Without a second thought, Bisola extended an invitation for Anita to stay with them. "Your family," she had said, her voice warm and reassuring, unaware of the chilling shadows lurking in Anita's heart. As Anita moved in, her bright smile lit the room, but it masked a simmering resentment. She had long coveted Tobi, viewing him as the key to a more prosperous life. That night, as the family gathered for dinner, Anita's laughter felt unsettlingly forced, her eyes darting between Bisola and Tobi, plotting her next move. Just as Anita began to weave herself into their lives, Bisola found an old photograph of Anita and Tobi together from years past, stirring a whirlwind of confusion and unease. During a warm evening stroll, Anita overheard Tobi whispering sweetly to Bisola, reigniting her jealousy and fueling her dark intentions. One fateful morning, Hakim fell ill with a mysterious fever, and Anita offered to care for him, her nurturing demeanor hiding a chilling calculation. As Anita became more involved in their household, Bisola discovered that Anita had not only shared her invitation but had also shared their private struggles with others, drawing unwelcome attention to their family. Just when Bisola felt a glimmer of hope in their friendship, she stumbled upon Anita in a heated conversation with a stranger, discussing plans that could turn her family's life upside down. Suspense hung thick in the air, and Bisola's heart raced as she sensed that her desire to help had entangled them in a web of betrayal. The once safe haven of her home now felt like a ticking time bomb, where loyalty was overshadowed by ambition, and love could quickly turn to danger. As the days turned into weeks, a shadow crept into Bisola and Tobi's once harmonious home. Tobi began to withdraw, his warm laughter fading into silence. The weight of his responsibilities pressed heavily on his shoulders, and in his vulnerability, he sought solace in Anita's company. What began as a casual friendship soon blossomed into a dangerous emotional affair, with Anita's laughter becoming a bomb for Tobi's frayed nerves. One evening, Bisola found Tobi alone, staring out at the horizon with a pained expression. When she approached, he snapped back to reality, quickly hiding a tear-stained letter from Anita, raising Bisola's suspicions. Anita, sensing her advantage, subtly encouraged his distance from Bisola, weaving a web of intimacy that was intoxicating yet perilous. Despite Aishetu's chilling warning, Bisola continued to support Anita, unaware of the depth of her ambition and the dark intentions simmering beneath the surface. One fateful night, as the moon cast an ethereal glow over the village, Bisola was tidying the courtyard, her hands busy with the familiar routine, when she suddenly caught a fragment of a hushed conversation drifting from the shadows. Peering around a corner, her heart pounding in her chest, she saw Tobi and Anita standing close, their voices low and conspiratorial. "We must be careful, Tobi," Anita urged, her tone laced with urgency. "If she finds out, we will lose everything." Bisola's breath hitched, an unsettling chill creeping down her spine. What could they possibly be hiding? The air thickened with tension, and she felt her world begin to tilt on its axis. Just then, Anita's hand brushed against Tobi's arm at a gesture that sent a jolt of fury through Bisola. Was this the warmth that had drawn him away? Trying to steady herself, Bisola strained to hear more. I don't want to hurt her, Tobi replied, his voice tinged with guilt. But she doesn't understand the risks. We have to think about the future. Future. The word echoed like a bell in Bisola's mind, igniting a fire of doubt. Suddenly, Anita leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. The village knows more than you think. They are watching us, waiting for a sign that we are vulnerable. As those words sank in, Bisola felt her resolve waver. Just then, a sudden gust of wind rustled the leaves, causing a branch to snap and fall, startling her. In that moment of chaos, she stumbled back, her presence finally revealed. Caught between her instinct to confront them and the fear of shattering her family, Bisola froze, torn apart by betrayal. Before she could retreat, Anita turned, her eyes narrowing with realization. Bisola, she said with a sweet, mocking smile. We were just talking about you. The world around Bisola shifted, and the warmth of her love turned into icy dread. As the darkness closed in, she realized that her support for Anita had become a dangerous dance, teetering on the edge of ruin. In that moment, Bisola knew she had to uncover the truth, even if it meant risking everything she held dear. Determined to uncover the truth, Bisola steeled herself for the confrontation that loomed over her like a storm cloud. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows in their dimly lit home, she found Tobi sitting in the corner, lost in thought. The sight of him stirred a whirlwind of emotions within her. I heard you speaking to Anita, she said, her voice trembling but resolute. What are you hiding from me? Tobi, taken aback, looked up, confusion etched across his face. It was nothing, Bisola. Just friendly chatter. But Bisola's instincts screamed otherwise, the primal force urging her to dig deeper. You lie. Something has changed between us, and I won't stand for it. Her heart raced, a cocktail of fear and anger boiling within her. Tobi's expression hardened, frustration boiling over as he stood up, towering over her. You're imagining things. Anita is just a friend. His words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Bisola felt a pulse of betrayal coursing through her veins. You think I'm blind, she shouted, the desperation in her voice rising. I see the way you look at her. I hear the way you talk to her. As if summoned by her fury, Anita appeared at the doorway, her face an unreadable mask. Am I interrupting something? She asked, her voice dripping with feigned innocence. Tobi's eyes darted to Anita, and Bisola's heart sank. You don't need to defend yourself, Tobi, Anita purred, stepping closer, her gaze locking onto him. I know how difficult this is for you. The tension in the room crackled like electricity, and Bisola felt as if the walls were closing in. In a moment of desperation, Bisola seized a small trinket from the table, a charm Anita had left behind. This was in Hakim's toy box. What game are you playing? Tobi's eyes widened in disbelief, the unspoken truth hanging in the air like a dagger. Bisola stood firm, her heart pounding, determined to fight for her family. But as the confrontation escalated, she realized she was on the precipice of losing everything. The stakes had never been higher, than the darkness closing in threatened to consume them all. As the argument escalated, Hakim, sensing the tension in the air, burst into tears. Mama, please don't fight. His innocent plea shattered the moment, and Bisola felt a knife twist in her heart. The sight of her son, wide-eyed and terrified, forced her to confront the reality of their fractured family. In that instant, all her anger faded, replaced by a crushing sense of despair. Tobi's face softened, but the damage was done. The love that once filled their home felt like a fragile facade, ready to shatter under the weight of betrayal. As Hakim sobbed, Bisola's heart ached for him, for the childhood innocence now tainted by their conflict. That night, unable to sleep, Bisola sought solace in Aishat's wisdom. She arrived at the elder's hut, her heart heavy, with the echoes of Hakim's cries haunting her. Aishatu welcomed her with open arms, sensing the turmoil within. Evil often hides behind a mask of kindness, Aishatu warned, her voice grave. Anita may appear nurturing, but her intentions could be far darker than you imagine. Bisola shivered, the elder's words wrapping around her like a cold embrace. You must protect yourself, Bisola, Aisha continued, her eyes narrowing. Observe her closely. Trust your instincts, they are stronger than you think. As Bisola returned home, she replayed Aisha's warnings in her mind, each step heavier than the last. Just as she entered the house, she caught Anita standing in the dim light of the kitchen, preparing a meal for Hakim, the warmth of the scene at odds with the dread coiling in Bisola's gut. Anita turned, a sweet smile gracing her lips. I thought a little comfort food might help after the fight, she said, but Bisola noticed the glint in her eyes, a flicker of something predatory, concealed beneath a veneer of kindness. As Hakim ran to Anita, seeking her comfort, Bisola felt a wave of panic wash over her. What if her son was being lured into a web of deceit, and she was powerless to protect him? The weight of her emotions threatened to crush her, but Bisola resolved to remain vigilant. The fragile threads of her family were unraveling, and the battle was far from over. In the shadows of her heart, she vowed to uncover the truth and reclaim the love that was slipping away, even if it meant facing the darkness head-on. Days turned into weeks, and the emotional distance between Bisola and Tobi deepened into an unbridgeable chasm. Anita reveled in her manipulations, her smirk hidden behind a facade of friendship. She spun a web of deceit, whispering poison into Tobi's ear, sowing insidious seeds of doubt about Bisola's love and devotion. Each subtle insinuation twisted his perceptions, making him question the very foundation of their relationship. One evening, as Bisola prepared dinner, she overheard Tobi on the phone, his voice strained and filled with uncertainty. I don't know what to believe anymore, Anita, he said, sending a shockwave of dread through her. Fueled by her growing suspicions, Bisola decided to confront Anita directly. The moment felt electric, a tension coiling in the air as she faced her. I know you've been talking to Tobi, she stated, her voice steady but laced with barely contained rage. What are you planning? Anita turned, feigning innocence with a practiced smile that only deepened Bisola's mistrust. Oh, Bisola, how could you think such a thing? We are just friends, she replied, but the flicker of malice in her eyes betrayed her true intentions. Bisola stepped closer, feeling the weight of their history and the betrayal crushing her heart. Friends don't whisper lies into the ears of those they claim to care about, Bisola shot back, anger igniting her words. Anita's expression shifted, her calm demeanor slipping into a mask of menace. You have to understand, Tobi needs someone who truly appreciates him, she hissed, her voice low and dangerous. And you're holding him back. The chilling revelation left Bisola momentarily stunned. In that moment, Anita's true nature emerged like a serpent shedding its skin, and Bisola realized the full extent of her friend's treachery. She was not just an interloper, but a predator seeking to eliminate her prey. The room pulsed with tension, and Bisola's heart raced as the stakes escalated. She knew she was not just fighting for her marriage but for her very survival. Determined, she took a deep breath, steeling herself for the battle ahead. Anita's deception would be unveiled, and Bisola vowed to protect her family, even if it meant confronting the darkness head-on. Desperate and determined to secure her future with Tobi, Anita devised a sinister plan that twisted her love into a dark obsession. Under the cover of night, she ventured into the depths of the forest, where the moonlight barely penetrated the thick canopy. Armed with her knowledge of herbs and a heart racing with anticipation, she searched for the plants that would aid her treachery. Anita's hands trembled as she gathered the necessary ingredients, sleeping herbs known for their potent effects, wildflowers whose roots could silence even the most restless of souls. Each item she collected felt like a step closer to her twisted goal. If she's out of the way, Tobi will finally see how much I care for him, Anita thought, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and dread. Back in her makeshift kitchen, she set to work, grinding the herbs into a fine powder and mixing them with water from the nearby stream. The concoction shimmered ominously in the dim light, a liquid promise of control over Bisola's fate. With each stir, she envisioned the outcome, Bisola lying unconscious, leaving Tobi open to her advances. As she prepared the potion, Anita's mind wandered to a time when she and Bisola were true friends, sharing dreams and laughter. But jealousy snaked its way back into her heart, drowning out any remnants of affection. This is for love, she whispered to herself, attempting to silence the growing doubt. As she finished, Anita's resolve hardened, the weight of her actions settling like a stone in her stomach. With the potion sealed in a small vial, she stepped out into the cool night air, her pulse racing as she imagined the moment she would administer it. Would this be the night that changed everything? In the silence of the night, a chilling thought crept into her mind: what if she miscalculated? What if the potion did more harm than good? But the temptation of power was too alluring, and Anita pushed aside her fears, clutching the vial tightly. She was determined to reclaim the life she believed was rightfully hers, even if it meant extinguishing the light of someone she once called a friend. On the night Anita intended to execute her sinister plan, a heavy tension hung in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. Bisola, busy preparing for the evening, sensed something was amiss. The atmosphere felt charged, every shadow flickering with unease. When Anita arrived, her demeanor was unsettlingly cheerful, an almost manic energy radiating from her. "Here, I brought you something special," Anita said, holding out a cup filled with a shimmering liquid. "Just a little something to help you relax, dear friend." Her smile was too wide, too forced, masking the darkness that lurked beneath. Bisola's instincts screamed at her to be cautious. "What's in this?" she asked, narrowing her eyes as she scrutinized the drink. The glint of something sinister danced in Anita's gaze, a momentary flash that sent a chill down Bisola's spine. "Oh, nothing to worry about," Anita insisted, her voice smooth yet tinged with an edge of desperation. "Just a herbal blend to ease your mind. You've been so stressed lately." Bisola's heart raced, a mix of dread and suspicion swelling within her. She pushed the cup away, her voice firm. "I don't want it." Anita's expression darkened for a heartbeat, her frustration flickering beneath the surface. "Bisola, why must you resist? This is for your own good." In that moment, Bisola's resolve strengthened as she noticed the small vial Anita had tucked into her pocket, its contents unmistakably similar to the drink before her. Realization dawned: Anita was not just offering comfort, she was attempting to trap her. The room crackled with tension as Bisola took a step back, her mind racing. "What have you done, Anita?" she demanded, her voice steady but laced with fear. Anita's facade slipped, revealing the predator lurking beneath. "You've always been in the way, Bisola. Once you're gone, Tobi will finally understand my love." Bisola felt her pulse quicken, adrenaline surging through her veins. She was standing at the edge of a precipice, and the ground beneath her was crumbling. She had to act fast. "You won't get away with this," she shouted, her voice echoing in the stillness of the night. With that, she turned on her heel, racing toward the door, desperate to escape the trap that had been so meticulously laid. The hunt was on, and Bisola knew she had to outsmart Anita before it was too late.